Good evening, people. Once again, welcome to the Upper Live Show. If you're streaming us via the website, good evening to you. If it's your first time here, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, the show is sponsored by Shush Prince, Vast Prince, and we're produced by World Mag. We're live here on TGM Radio each and every Tuesday from 9 p.m., right? And every week, we always bring to you some super human being inside the studio. And this week is like no other. We have another superhuman being here. He's been a veteran singer, performer, from throughout all his career from way back in the day, and he's here today with all the knowledge and the know-how producing new music. He's here with us. Good evening to you. Welcome, Mr. Notch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Give us the synopsis, that is, because it's a very long story. Give us a synopsis.
Music, I come from the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
So anybody out there from the Cayman Islands, and
My sister's in the Cayman Islands right now.
oh, but that's nice, man. All right. So we're actually COVID free. So
You are.
Cayman is COVID free, absolutely. The only we only had like 3 cases.
Is it?
And you went on instant lockdown.
No, we had one. No. We had we kind of went through the process, and I think our politicians and the fact that we're an island and kind of isolated, it all kind of helped us to
Keep safe.
keep safer.
Right.
What is it like there now? How is the measures there comparing to here in the UK?
It's open, We're at level, I guess you want to say level 2 or the end of level 2, the last phase of level 2. So there's no mask, no social distancing required,
Wow.
no restrictions and stuff. We're getting back to
Normal.
norm. People
Okay.
are out at the beach.
Yeah.
People are at the bar. People are out.
Restaurants and everything.
Everything is open.
You know what? We have to say big up to the government.
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
up,
yeah.
man,
and
yeah.
the
They're
people of
doing what they
Cayman.
need to do.
They're doing what I think the world should
be
do,
doing.
because every country so far, I don't really understand the plan and the aim as far as what I see in Jamaica, UK, and and America. So me don't know. So maybe
We probably need
look
to,
what
yeah.
Cayman is doing.
Copy a few of their measures. But let's take it back to how it is that Mr. Notch got into music, and talk to us about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I just grew up. I grew up as a child of a policeman who was a musician. In Cayman, they always recruited a lot of the people from around the Caribbean, the English-speaking Caribbean, into the country. So my father comes from Belize
Okay.
in Central America, which is really British Honduras. A lot of people in the Caribbean really don't know Caribbean geography, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hope that this new generation really
Will
takes that
understand
challenge
it.
on and get to know your Caribbean, because that's everything. It's as important as knowing your Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, those are
Very
that's
important.
the foundation, the basis for everything.
So you being the child of a police officer who was a musician, so that simply means that music was always within your home,
Absolutely.
and that it was obviously in your blood.
The very first, influences were always my father's influencers
Right.
in music.
Such
and those
as?
would have been the giants.
Such as?
Such as you have the Nat King Coles, you have the Neil Diamonds, the Johnny Cashes. And those days in the Caribbean, people really listen to all forms of music.
Yeah.
And that's something else I want to impart, that, it's important to really be a lover of music, good music.
So
All
it's
music.
because of we didn't have our own music, our own genre at that point. That's why we never have any option. Would you say is because of that? Why we listen to some of these songs?
Well, the Caribbean always has a strong influence, well, the whole world, of what America does,
Right.
So America's music has influenced the whole world, but I guess a lot of it really has to do with the fact that a lot of the African influence that moved to the West was so strongly indulged with that new music, the art form, the creativity of it, and the groove and the melodies that, because all music really comes from Africa.
Yep.
Whether you're
Foundation.
whether you don't matter what you're listening to, it comes from Africa.
Yep.
You know, like you can go
Fully
to places
agree.
like Cuba where I've performed, where it's like they have, because Cuba used to be one of the stops for the slaves direct into the Caribbean. So you can go to certain places where the people there have never ever like intermingled, they've never mixed. They are raw Cuban descendants,
Yeah.
but they are African.
Africans.
Of
Right.
course.
You're hearing them playing some beats on some drums that you never seen, and you know, and the grooves and the melodies,
Grooves, right.
and you feel it in your body.
Right.
It's not like you're just hearing it in your
Right,
ears. It's
right.
moving everything in you. It makes you feel like you want to do a tribal dance, and you never did a tribal
Even
dance.
if you couldn't dance before.
You just want to get up and
I think like music in general come from the native people of a land,
Yeah.
which we know like the Native Americans, North Americans was already
they
Indians,
also
and like
contributed greatly.
they contributed, and like native people from South Africa, the Amazonian, they also play their drums and stuff, and
So,
people from Africa. Only people we don't have no record of playing any musical instrument in their prime is a European.
Shots fired.
Wagwan.
Shots. Shots.
A black instrument.
Oh, go ahead. Hey, I said, have your guns loaded tonight, man.
Yeah,
No,
Wagwan.
but hey, listen, the truth is the truth. It's honest, the Lord's truth. So speak it, my brother.
Exactly.
It is.
You're right.
Exactly.
And nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
But
it.
absolutely, you're 100% correct. You know, I mean, I feel so good to know that you guys are aware of that fact.
Yep.
Of course.
That
There
that
you
is
have
a
it.
reality. You know?
So, so
Yeah,
you
man.
Because the Europeans are originally looters.
Yeah.
They used to go from country to country, place to place,
Steal people's things.
and
Columbus.
loot. Like from the Viking days, come right back. From Spain to France to England, all of these, one country go over there, loot.
Or cowboys, you know?
And until they find out, like, say, no, there's a wider world out there. Let's stop loot our neighbors. Let's
No,
explore.
it's still happening.
Take,
now,
take,
no?
take it to
But
further
yeah, it's
heights.
still happening in terms of music and our culture. They're still looting it up to these days.
No, they changed the name now. They call it terrorism now, because they
It's on a deeper level.
just try to switch it to make it sound as if they were doing the same
Sounding
thing.
professional.
Exactly this. Even though I'm not trying to make it sound grievously bad, but if
It
you
is
look
what
on
it
it, it was the same thing that they're doing now. What they were doing then is pretty much the same thing the terrorists
Pretty
them
much the
claim the
same
terrorists are
thing.
doing right now.
What I like whenever you guys get a day free in this month, in Black History Month, anybody listening, go to the Museum of London and just look at most of the artifacts and just see where they belong.
Of course.
Right.
Just look in there and see where they belong.
So
History.
let's take it back to Mr. Notch and his stories. You've worked with quite a number of people. You've done quite a number of extensive jobs. You've held posts in quite a number of places. And you've been in the industry from the 80s.
Yeah, from the time I was a child.
From the time you were a child.
So my father basically was the top soca singer in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
He was the winner of our national song competition for many consecutive years. He'd have been the equivalent of like a sparrow in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
You know, like
Nice.
a big,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
the mighty sparrow.
Right. And how has that impacted you and the way how you have become a performer, become...
In every way.
Give us more details in
influence
regards
first
to
came when I
that.
saw my father performing, and then it was like, I know I have to do
You
that.
have to do
and
that.
I know I can do it, so it's for me to do.
Did you get an opportunity to perform with
And
him?
then yes, I did.
And
Later on.
how were those experiences?
Yeah.
Those experiences were they weren't what you have when you're a child. You know, it wasn't what you had in your head as it materializes. Like I remember once we were out and performing out. You know, you call in you're about 14 or 15. And, you know, they say, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," and I'm like, "Come here, man." When we're out here, you know, you don't call me daddy, you know. Because you're not in that type of
Right. You're not in that environment.
You're not in that
He's a
environment,
professional
so,
at that time.
You know what I'm saying? And the daddy thing would have been
Pampered his
and
image
dragging him down a bit.
Yeah.
So,
Make you try
with the baggage.
but I
Yeah,
understood.
right,
no,
right.
Pull up a
I
star.
understood. It's not that he wasn't proud of his son or
Right.
proud of his family, but yeah. So I mean, yeah, you grew up with an awareness. But at that stage, I was already a recording artist.
Okay.
And my father was never really a recording artist.
Okay, he was just a
Only
performer.
A performer, a
Okay.
songwriter, and he actually only had gone on to win the national
Competition.
song competitions in Cayman. So he would have been very popular in Cayman, but outside of Cayman,
He wasn't very popular.
unless you were
You know about the
or
competition.
unless you had visited Cayman as a tourist
And
you had
seen
gotten
him.
to see him
Okay.
perform.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, because that's kind of the environment of the Cayman Islands. You know, it's a tourist destination.
And it's very closed in.
Absolutely. And because of the way life is, a lot of Caymanians don't venture out. Like life in Jamaica was hard, so a lot of Jamaicans ventured out to the UK to make a better life. Caymanians
They
didn't
have-
need to do that
Yeah.
because they made a better life in
In
Cayman
the country itself.
compared to how Cayman was.
Yeah.
But Cayman would have been, like I was telling Mixmaster J last night, was saying that Cayman would have been the 15th parish of Jamaica if they had made the decision
Yeah.
to stay with Jamaica before Jamaica opted for independence.
Independence, right?
So
Right.
Cayman is really Jamaica.
Because
the
they were-
closest island to Jamaica is
Yeah.
Cayman.
Yeah, and it was under the same
No, it's Cuba.
British.
Well, no.
It's
Cuba? No.
It's Cuba.
No one.
Let's
It's not
Google it.
Cuba.
Cuba is the closest island to Jamaica. Cayman, assure.
We were taught in school.
That's
Yeah,
what-
that's Cayman is further.
Yeah, Cayman is
Cuba is
further.
90
Cayman's
miles.
180 miles. Yes,
And
it's
Cuba is 90.
Cuba's 90
Yeah.
miles, half the distance.
Cuba is the closest country to us. I'm positive of that.
I stand corrected. I
Yeah.
stand corrected. If this was a talk show, you know, you get points.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm on the ready for being on Jeopardy.
Yeah, but in terms of the
But
most of the
yes,
Caribbean islands, Cayman is the closest one to us because where Cayman is kind of segregated from the rest of them.
And not
Yeah.
only that,
Only
but because
just-
of the
yeah.
English speaking,
Yeah.
Cayman is closer to Jamaica. So not geographically, but definitely culturally,
Culturally.
Yeah.
Cayman is, and that's why reggae music reigns supreme in Cayman. So what you find in Cayman is a lot of the original root of the reggae music.
Yeah.
As just like how Jamaica has it, because it's all spread, you know what I mean? So it's that vibration, you know.
Of course.
You know, Cuba has a lot of African influence from Africa, but also from the Caribbean itself too, you know. When you go places like Santiago, Cuba, like the population changes. You go to Havana and everybody creamy. And you go Santiago and everybody look like us. It's like somebody dark, the
Dark
coffee.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said earlier on, is I think they're a mix with the native Cubans, so that's why they have that dark
Absolutely.
melody,
Well,
melanin in their skin. It's just like the people from we call it South America. Like most of the darker South American, them and the darker Mexican, they are the Aboriginal Mexican. So that's why they have that darker tone of skin. Because remember, you know, over the years we kind of get mixed with the European because they enslave us, rape, you know, and breed few women.
the Europeans and more.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, you know. I mean, you can't tell somebody who to love, you know. So
That's
and
true.
sometimes
Exactly.
I
Love
mean,
has no
it
boundary.
wasn't always just rape. Sometimes
Yeah.
I
It
must
was
say,
genuine
Genuine, you know?
relationships.
To
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
it's a European
But-
menu
but
because
you're right.
Americans are Europeans, same
yeah,
way.
same way.
They are descendants
Absolutely.
of the Europeans
It's
because
like an
they
fire
are
this evening, you
European
know.
settlers, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Teach,
You know-
teach,
know-
my brother, teach, yes,
You know,
man.
Dragon and History and Gia theme
Of course.
thing them that.
Theme niche that. So,
So in regards to back to your music career.
Right. So
you-
my dad and I were performing on the circuit around the same time. I left primary school and I went to middle school, which would be junior high.
Yeah.
And as I got there, I just fell into a band. I met a kid who was a drummer, and his brother was a guitarist for my father's band. And he said to me, "I know two other youths from off my street that can play keyboard." And next thing you know, we're rehearsing.
yeah.
You understand?
That is
And you
it.
started
And
to
then
get
all
bookings.
of a sudden, now the brother who was a guitarist with my father's band,
Yeah.
he left and took us seriously.
Oh, okay.
And in about a fortnight or so, to coin a European English phrase, we were out performing on the circuit.
Which
You know, so
and that was how was the reaction from your father in regards to that, being in junior high, still in school, but taking on the professional
Side of
aspect
it.
of music?
Was he happy?
you asked some killer questions. You know.
I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. No, I love it. I would have never thought of this before, but I don't want to say that my dad was ever not proud of me, but I'd like to say that when how I saw it, anyway, because it's through my eyes I'm speaking. It's my story.
Right.
I would say that he definitely didn't really like, he didn't spend too much time giving me that acknowledgement. Like, it was kind of like, it was a passing.
All right, you're doing music. Okay, fine.
It's how Caribbean men do things, though, It's not like they kind of, you do it over their kids and, my son did this, my son, Like, he tell us.
They just know that you're doing it and you're doing it, full stop.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
It's like one time we come home with a report card with 13 A's and the man say, why did you get a B?
Exactly.
You don't say nothing about the A's, you know what I mean? So that's his
job shot.
And that's, and I guess because that has happened to us as well, that's our motivation to do better. They expect us to do, fulfill all A's in totality.
Yeah.
So,
exactly, because that's the way that they raise us. So, like, they expect us to be independent-minded because they know that they've instilled that in us from early, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just in case, for whatever reason, I guess they wouldn't be around.
Definitely.
You have something to fall back on.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You don't notice that Caribbean kids, like, from the early age, like, they know how to wash clothes and they know how to cook their own food and they can, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Of course.
The father and mother going out to work and they say, you're responsible for your baby sister.
Yep.
You 5 years old and she 4. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? I figure that.
From an early age.
But that's just the way it is in the
But
Caribbean.
It does help you.
Yeah, man.
And I guess those experiences developed or helped you to develop into the man you are today, as well as hosting positions such as the president for the Cayman Music and Entertainment Association, because you've learned experiences, you've been through a number of things. Talk to us about being the president then until, you're still the president now? Until now.
Yep.
And speak to us about how that has also helped you music-wise.
Interestingly enough, the presidency was something that I didn't really plan for. I went to a meeting of musicians to try to get them to stop from breaking off from the association.
Right.
They had this great idea, a bunch of gentlemen older than me, who felt like the association was doing nothing for them, so they were going to form their own.
Yeah.
Now, I had been a part of the forming of the original association. So I kind of had a sentimentality
and an attachment to
an
it.
attachment to it. I thought it was a good thing in concept, even though I realized where it fell short.
Right.
Where it fell short was that it was only looking out for the local musicians who wanted a slot on a chance to perform in the hotels.
Okay.
Around the local entertainment scene.
Okay.
It really wasn't looking into the problems that were being faced by the local musicians who were recording artists and trying to get their music out there.
And that experience comes from your father as well, because he was in that position.
Well, no, my father wasn't. Yes.
He had that experience
He had
because
that experience.
he was a performer, but he wasn't a recording artist. Exactly.
Up till now, it's still been overshadowed because I don't know a recording artist from. I can't pinpoint. I know there is
From the Cayman Islands.
I can't pinpoint and say, all right, he's from the Cayman. I know artists from Trinidad. I know artists from all the rest of the islands.
But you know, say Red Rat grew up in Cayman, right?
Yes,
But I didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah,
Red Rat grew up in Cayman. Enough of them guys passed through Cayman and lived for stints. Jacob the Killer Miller.
Okay.
Enough of them would have had even Cayman roots, right? But they had to go to Jamaica because that's where the numbers are. And that's where you really get the support, and that's where the music takes on a different onus, because culture in Jamaica is of a
It's vibrant.
it has a deeper day-to-day significance than it does in Cayman. You know,
It's like breathe, eat, sleep music.
Yeah.
Whereas in Cayman it's all about
the nightlife or the performing
On the hotel side.
or about being host and taking care of those people. So there's other jobs. So musicians would actually be part-timers. Or not only that, but then they would go into, as you know, Cayman is a financial sector.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the next thing that grew. So you had
Going
parents,
into
you had parents who were in the hotel industry and hospitality telling their kids, you have to grow up to be a lawyer, you have to grow up to be a banker, because that's what's out there now. I work hard every day.
And it doesn't, it's hard to make ends meet, all of that
It's the same
jazz.
thing, because parents want something more
for their children.
For their children.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
That's natural. So, just out of curiosity, what's the population of Cayman? Then we get to my question.
No, or when we're talking about relative.
No, or in a few years. So just a rough estimate.
No, I would say Cayman's at about. I would say Cayman's at about 50,000. 50,000 with about 20. I'd say half and half Caymanians and expats. We actually have a problem where we have more work that we have Caymanians who can do the
who can
work.
fulfill. So is it that you have to okay.
Right,
So Cayman actually sustains now the Jamaican economy.
Yeah.
It does.
Probably as much per capita as the United States.
Which is good.
Or even the UK, even though the numbers
if you were to compare
them, there's a huge disparity between the numbers.
To be honest, I have to disagree with it here, but I'm not gonna change the subject. I'm just saying that's why in terms of culture, in terms of Cayman, as we said before, you guys are us. It's too much jobs going around and too less time to idle, and it's one-sided. Like if you go to any big city in the world, you know, you have different field, different avenue and different niche. Like for New York, you have the upper Manhattan, you have lower Manhattan, then you have like the meatpacking village and different sectors. Just like London, you have east, south, north and west. And everywhere in London you go, you do have that different feel and that different type of cultural authenticity that go with certain part of London. So with Cayman now, because it's such a small, compact area, in terms of the culture in Cayman, it's hard, or it's one-sided in a sense.
But Cayman's culture is still diverse, man.
It's still diverse, but I'm saying it's kind of one-sided. Like, because I'm a Jamaican and I visit many places in the world, and I know like.
So you've been to Cayman?
No, I've never been to Cayman before.
Or not yet.
Not yet. I know a lot of people that go to Cayman, as we said, for jobs and stuff. But in terms of the diversity of Jamaica, like, you could go uptown, downtown, and it's two different places. It's like you're stepping in a whole new country. And I'm just talking in just a little. It's what? About 50 miles. About 50 miles.
Yeah, less.
And it's like a total different world. Especially going in the country and like some different area, like going Ocho Rios, going to Montego Bay, going Falmouth, going Mandeville. It's total different. Like even the accent change in a bit. The different places you go. And
same thing in Cayman, do you know? Same thing in Cayman, my bro.
The accent changed in such a small island.
In such a small island. From East End to West Bay, there's a difference, my brother. From West Bay to Cayman Brac, the little island, different thing. You Brackers called Cayman. Matter of fact, Cayman Brackers say they aren't Caymanians. They're Brackers. They'll tell you that. Where you come from? I come from the Brac.
Okay.
You know, they don't come from Cayman. So, but that is something that is innate in all of us through Africa. That's tribalism. And that is something that we have all grown with in our genetics.
Okay.
You understand? So it's something that we really can't overcome just in one generation. And really and truly, nobody's really pointing it out that much, because now we're not abusing the tribalism. It actually just kind of
it works.
It works.
Yeah, we just work with it.
It just kind of paints us with a brush and say, you know, with a sense of pride. Like in America, they would you have the different football teams.
Yes.
You have the Packers and you have the Steelers, and those people are celebrating the things about them that make them special.
Right.
And it's for us black people to realize that what makes us special more than anything is the fact that we're black people.
Exactly.
And it don't matter where you come from.
Exactly.
As long as you're a black man, you're an African. So if we could get past the fact that you are a black American, even though black Americans don't want to call themselves black Americans, they want to say, plenty of them, I'm American.
Right.
That's how it go. You have plenty of guys who come here and become English, and they want to say, I'm not a black Englishman, I'm an Englishman. You understand? And really and truly, we are all just Africans. As black people.
On the point of special on the point of special and black, you have dropped a new song.
I have.
Black My Story. Black My Story. Talk to us about the track.
All right. So, Black My Story.
Deep breath.
Yeah, we want you the reason behind
Yes,
the
we
song.
want to hear about it because as you might know, it's Black History Month here in the UK, and I think timing is everything. I think listening to the song, listening to what the message speaks of. You've taken your deep breath. You ready to tell us about Black My Story?
Black My Story. Marcus Messiah Garvey, who I did not really learn a lot about when I was growing up in the Cayman Islands because of the way that the colonial influence works.
Yeah.
They never really tell you a lot about black heroes.
Yes.
It's just like how now they're just figuring out that black British history is just British history. It's not really black because they've taken out the black parts. They've redacted the black parts. How ironic.
And just
the
showed
history in Britain, what I realized what they taught in school. World War One, World War Two, the fire of London, these plague and these stuff. It have nothing to do with black people.
nothing at all.
Just like or they write in the indoctrination when they win Germany in World War Two. So they have to teach what the atrocity, what they done. Why don't they do the same and teach it in school? Say it was a bad country.
Keep it fair.
Yeah, and teach the kids, say, back in the days we used to do this and we used to do that. It's
Keep
just
it
fair.
plain and straight.
It's history.
It probably has something to do with reparation, I think. I think in the end, if people think that if you ever let people think that you're, and I'll digress a bit from my Black My Story to answer what you just
Because
said.
everything
what you
ties
said
in.
just open up a whole can of worms
Go
again.
ahead. Go right
So
ahead.
what were you saying? Because you would keep me, you would keep me
I
here
think
all
you
night.
two would have
You would
have
keep
an
me here all night, literally.
extensive conversation.
But I have to tell you that I think it has to do with your reparations, which is that a lot of people don't want to accept their ancestral behavior because they think that currently they are going to have to pay for it. Because of the way the world is structured, is that there has to be some type of, compensation or some type of penance.
Yeah.
And something that's because that's the way that the world is structured, and I think we need to I think we need to move away from that. I think we need to get to the point where just for people to acknowledge that what they did was wrong and to state what the case is a step in the right direction.
Yes.
I don't think that we are at the stage yet of reparations. So I think we should put that on the back burner. But I think that a lot of black people have been so jaded and want things in this time that they're not playing the long game. And that has caused a lot of problems with us solving the issue, which is really racism.
See? Touch it
Simple,
right on the nail on the
So, Black My Story. Marcus Messiah Garvey from Jamaica, who I did not really learn a lot about in the Cayman Islands, based on the way that the colonial education system is. They don't really teach us about what happened in Jamaica with Paul Bogle or any of that stuff, even though Cayman was so closely tied to Jamaica. This is just the fact.
Okay.
What they teach us is what the British system is teaching over here in Britain, because I grew up as a British subject.
Okay, yes.
So naturally, I took GCEs and CSEs and O levels, and so there's a line of until they open up that we could take CXCs, which were just recently.
Yes.
With the Caribbean Examination Board, and even the Caribbean Examination Board, in my opinion, should be flogged because they do not stand up for for the facts of history the way that they should either. A lot of black people, once they get in a certain position, and I don't know nobody personally, but that's what happens. That's why you need young people with fire, because everybody burns out, man.
Yeah.
That's life.
So you need
you in a vessel. We're all in a vessel, and we only got so much fuel to put into the world, and when that is consumed, it is somebody else's turn.
That needs to carry
That's
on
how the world
mantle.
works, right? So, Black My Story. Marcus Messiah Garvey wrote a book with some quatrains of some excerpts, teachings of Marcus Messiah Garvey, and I read the book, and sometimes it's not when you read something the first time that it really impacts you. You can read something and you can kind of read past it, and it doesn't register.
Yeah.
And you read it the second time, and depending on how you feeling,
Or how you
which is the thing about which is the thing about the Bible, just the same. It resonates something different. So this time it just resonated with me that the man had issued a challenge, which is at the intro of the song, and he says, "Wheresoever you go throughout the world, the black man is relegated and is subjugated to the lowest of things, and this therefore suggests a problem and one which must be solved." He doesn't say who will solve it, which is the same argument I'm making now about some people jumping the gun talking about reparations. You understand? Because we're not there yet.
No.
We're not even around the negotiation table yet. And you want to talk about, you owe me this money, I want my money,
That's what
and give me my money, and you all go back Africa, and this thing and the next thing, and that's a bunch of foolishness. Straight talking.
Yeah.
Because there's no final word in diplomacy. So you have to know what stage of diplomacy you are at to be a diplomat.
Yeah.
Because if you are not at that stage, then really and truly, you shouldn't be at that table.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Marcus wrote this piece many, many years ago, obviously, way before me. And I'd only read it. I'd never really heard anybody
Recite it or
reciting
anything.
or delivering it. And a couple of years back, I had this epiphany to do a show in Jamaica
Yeah.
with me as a headliner, because I wanted, as a Cayman artist,
To be
on a Jamaica
recognized
stage,
on-
which I had been on stage in Jamaica before. I was actually just following up
A
on
support-
some of
oh,
that
okay,
momentum that
okay.
I had going,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I just headlined the Reggae Sunsplash. You know, I had just performed with Barry Salmon, him and I alone, with on a show called The Cavalcade of Beauties, which was all of the Jamaica Miss Worlds and
Okay.
stuff. And it was
Yeah.
a gala
Nice.
show, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
So in terms of that show in Jamaica and you performing in the Cayman and something, how do you find the crowd in Jamaica? Is it more receptive to the crowd in Cayman? Or are there a tougher crowd?
no man. If you can be, that's a start.
I'm just asking.
People are people, man.
No,
Pe-
because
people are people.
And once you-
once
you
know
give
how-
out good
once you-
product.
yeah, man. I come to sing in, brother.
so
Yeah,
you
that-
deliver a well delivered set then.
I am well received in Jamaica.
Hey, that's
Yes, sir.
good. That's
And anywhere for that matter. I mean, I'm not boasting. I'm toasting. You understand? I mean, you know that your coffee say, you know, rise up,
Toast.
boast.
No, rise and boast.
Yeah.
See that?
I know that
I know that you played.
time is quickly getting away
Yeah.
from us because you have another appointment
Absolutely.
after.
So to cut a long story short,
Yes.
that's what you want. But my friend there keeps
He keeps drawing you out, doesn't he?
keeps drawing me out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in a nutshell,
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend do the show in Jamaica, and it was just that was the intention of the show.
Right.
Was to get some live footage in Jamaica with me performing on the stage and certain cats on the stage that
Right.
are special to me,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And while I was there, I came up with the hook and the melody, and I kind of penned it down and put it to the side. Didn't think much of it, and later on, it just came. The two things just connected,
Right.
and I started to write the lyrics. You watching the news and how the people treat black people in America still,
Yes.
you know, and with all of this violence and the Black Lives Matter movement hadn't even put up their first banners yet, really, when I started to pen the song. But I didn't finish it. I kind of put it down because I hadn't connected the two parts. And it's only after the new wave of the same behavior came back up that it came to me that the challenge that was issued was actually for this generation. It was saying to them, wheresoever you go throughout the world, the black man is relegated and subjugated to the lowest of things. What are you going to do about it?
Yes.
That's a challenge for your generation. You can do like the rest of it. The generation, well, before me, take licks, get watered down, or they can stand up on a peaceful protest, or they can take it a little further, push the envelope, but whatever it is, you have to do,
Yeah, we have to do something.
because it must
Must be done.
be solved.
Yeah.
I think until we all come together as a people and accept our own
Yeah.
and accept our own culture, because I noticed in the Caribbean, we don't really accept our culture fully, like other Caribbean islands, and accept each other's, like
Differences
Like-
and what they
Well, I
bring
tell
to
you
the
something,
your
you know.
table.
music. Your music some people probably from Trinidad or Antigua or something like that, they're like, I mean, not too like, sometime them, and I do everything from America, from Europe.
They gravitate towards it.
We like foreign things. It's like a kid, we like sweets, and until we have that behavior and we start come together as a people, then that's where we're going to make some real progression, because we're divided, and there's a divide and conquer.
Yes, man. No, man. Well, you have a point, I mean, that definitely is a problem. But I think that as we grow and as we move forward, I think that we're starting to embrace the fact that we are not just we are just not one-dimensional. We're multifaceted as Caribbean people.
Yes.
Americans can appreciate the fact that they are rock and roll, they are country, they are jazz, they are R&B, they are hip-hop. Then we should be able to recognize the fact that we are soca, calypso, merengue, reggae, dancehall, salsa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong, between, and it's not like one form. I have to say this, it's not like one form of music, one genre is any greater than another genre.
Right.
You understand?
But as I talk about genre, why soca music is not listed as an official genre as yet?
Well, that goes back to the same thing when we talking about racism. That can be the only reason. But then,
why is that?
What is your generation going to do about it? That's the question.
My generation,
it's for you guys, because that's what I'm saying. Think about it, literally. If we don't fix it now, you pass the problem on to the next soca generation, and guess what?
It's going to be the same.
And next soca generation coming in. In Cayman, they already start Junior Badabanu. They have Junior Carnival. In every island that they have carnival. So the youths them done. Matter of fact, nobody didn't need to teach none of the youths them how to wine, Caribbean youths born know how to wine and watching TV now with this new style. So you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Right. So this is a simple thing.
Right.
Racism is the problem in the world. It is not just a problem that black people face either. And it is something that black people have to come to terms with, because until we realize that, until everybody is free and everybody is equal, there will be no equality for us.
Good point.
I'm telling you.
Unfortunately, time is going, because you do have another appointment in the next couple of minutes. But what we're going to ask you to do, we're going to play just any track, and you're going to give us a few bars of Black My Story.
Yeah, I'm going to play 2 track. And
we don't have the time for 2 tracks, that's the thing.
But
so
it's whichever one suits better.
Whichever one. Just drop some bars first.
I would just like you to play Black My Story.
No, we want you to sing it.
Oh, yeah. Black My Story. Black My Story, not his story. Come here, stop it, chant down Babylon. Black My Story, can't control me. I just this time in a day. Yeah. Black My Story. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Black My Story, not his story. Oh, yeah. Black My Story.
Ladies and gentlemen, Black My Story by Mr. Notch. Thank you ever so much for coming by and speaking to us. Listen, this conversation could go on for hours.
It's going to continue. And remember, Black My Story is out on every
all the platforms.
So go out and support
Check it out.
It's all about Black History Month. They say, spend your dollar in the black community.
And
so
support.
Go out and support.
Right.
Music is cheaper than a bottle of Pepsi.
Or a can. Can you give us some social media details where people can find you, though?
Mr. Notch at Instagram. Hit me up. mr.notch. Right there.
There you
also
go.
On Facebook, same way. You don't know?
Yeah. Anybody you want to shout out?
I want to shout out all the peeps in the Cayman Islands. Lady Diana.
Yeah. Music media management.
Large up. Seriously, I want to say this, The time to shine is now. So let's get it done.
That's it. Thank you ever
Stay
so
safe.
much. You too.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Notch here in the TGM Radio UK studio here on the Upnlive show. It was a pleasure speaking to you, sir, and I wish you all the very best on the rest of your radio tour, as well as the rest of your journey and with the success of Black My Story. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna drop some music, turn it over to Dragon All Star. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're here every Tuesday between 9 and 11. We're sponsored by Shushprint. We're produced by World Mac.
I want some people to remember it's all about Black History Month. And so do no homework and read a book, them say brain power is the main power, be